locking it? Okay. All right. Library books. Check out your local library. Is the woman that Romeo loved before he met Juliet. Hello and welcome to a weekly vlog. It feels so long since I've done this. It is so long since I've done this. But I wanted to try and get back into the swing of making content because it's been so long and I miss it. So I've been really inspired lately. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna give it a go. I don't look my best, and in recent years that would have kept me from making content, but I'm trying to get rid of that habit. So yeah, we're going with it. If I sound a little off, it's because I am going on week, I want to say 5 or 6 of having this year's major flu. I feel like everybody's had it this year. Certainly my whole family's had it and we still have it. But yeah, so if I sound a little off, I both still have this flu that just won't let go, just white knuckle grip. And also I've kind of hurt my side because of the flu, weirdly enough. I had a coughing fit and did something to my rib cage. So the theme of this week, be it that I am not 100%, is calm, chill, relaxing, low energy, because that's where I'm at right now, hobbies. We're going to try and keep it really chill, really relaxing, really low energy as much as we can. I do have work, at least for the moment. As long as this doesn't get any worse, then I have work. But I only work part-time out of the house, so that's fine. And there are the life things that you have to do, right? But that is what I'm hoping to do this week, is just some nice chill hobbies. Easter's next weekend, so we might do an Easter craft at some point. Yeah, I think we'll do an Easter craft. I have some things that could use some decorating, and I will show you we've decorated for Easter. So I'll show you around the house too at some point, but I just want to keep it chill. We're also doing low buy. I'm trying to do low buy just to, I don't know, just to reset my relationship with money. I feel like, for me at least, I didn't grow up having like the best relationship with money for various reasons. And as an adult, I am consistently trying to work on my relationship with money. So we're doing a low buy week, trying to use what we have in the house, and keeping it fairly relaxed, fairly low energy. Just chill, and this is typically a week that I would have let stop me from making content, usually. But I want to shake the insecurity. Like, I would have let being a little bit ill and maybe not feeling 100%, and the fact that like I don't really have much going on completely stop me from making content. Or the fact that like I'm filming on my phone, because I do have a DSLR, but it's so old. I got it when I started making content, which was 12 years ago. I believe I started making content online, like seriously, when I was 19. I think that was it. I think it's when I came back from very briefly living in Asia. And so that, yeah, I would have been 19 or 20 is when I started making content, and I'm 31. So it's been a long time. And it's not been consistent, it's been a few years since I've made like consistent online content, but I do miss it. I do love it. My life has changed a lot. I'm married now. I live in Scotland, which is neither a country I lived in before, nor is the country I'm from. But you guys watched me move here. I filmed it. I don't know if those videos are still on YouTube, but I did film the process of moving here, and I went to university, and I didn't film getting married because that was mine. And I have a son who's turning 3 in a couple weeks, which is crazy because it doesn't feel like that long ago that I had him, and simultaneously feels like a long time ago that I had him, to be fair. And there have been hiccups that I won't get into because you can go back on my channel and find stuff about why I've made content and why I haven't over the years, but I really miss it. I miss having that creative outlet. I'm such a creative person, and I just really want to come back, even if that means that sometimes my videos are a little bit boring, or might be a little bit. Some of you might love it. I don't know. I'm assuming that people who are watching these videos are creative homebodies like myself, who might also have chronic illnesses that take them out completely, like myself. Anyway, the first hobby we're going to talk about is reading, because that's how I started making content on YouTube. I made booktube content, and just a little brain fart there. And also I've got some library books. So this kind of fits into that no buy. I've been utilizing our library a lot more over the last year, like a lot more. I've been buying less books, trying to, and I am trying to buy less books just to save myself money. I still think you should support the book industry in certain ways. Independent bookshops, authors, some other avenues are questionable. But by supporting your local library, you are supporting your local not your local authors, all your authors. Libraries and authors get kickbacks if you use them, and it costs you nothing. So it's amazing. At some point, I'm sure I'll do a rant about how amazing libraries are and all the different services you can get there, but not right now. So I have about 50 pages left of a library book, and that's what we're going to talk about first. So I've been reading Fair Rosalind by Natasha Solomons. This is really good. I read I, Mona Lisa by the same author, which was recommended to me by my mother-in-law, and I did end up getting a copy of that. So I didn't get it from the library. I purchased that one because I was going on holiday, and you obviously can take library books on holiday. I feel weird about it, but you can, like, no one knows, and lots of people do it. I need to get over it. But we were going on holiday, and I wanted to read this specific book, so I bought myself a copy. I loved it. I, Mona Lisa is about the Mona Lisa, and the whole story takes place from her point of view. Now, hear me out on this one, because I wasn't sure when I heard the synopsis. She can speak. She can communicate with Leonardo da Vinci and with certain people of artistic genius, which is like a discourse that we're not going to get into. And it goes through her entire history from conception to present day, and all the major events that she's been present for. So what Leonardo da Vinci was like, what their relationship was like, going to the Louvre, what happened in between, the theft from the Louvre. It goes through all of that, but from her perspective. And it's so good. I know that sounds hokey. It's not something I'd usually read. I only read it because my mother-in-law was like, I think you're really going to like this. You have to hear me out on the synopsis. But it changed the way she viewed the Mona Lisa. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. We're going on holiday, and it sounds like the perfect kind of holiday read anyway. Something I can, easily read on the plane. I loved it. I did love it. This is by the same author. And for those who may be slightly less familiar with Romeo and Juliet, Rosalind is the woman that Romeo loved before he met Juliet. And I don't know if this is canon, but in this book, Rosalind's also Juliet's cousin. So, this is not quite as good to me as I, Mona Lisa, but I do like it. Like, I am enjoying the reading experience. I have found it very entertaining. I've been in bed because of said health situation for the past week. And this has been a great companion to have in bed, to be totally honest. It is really entertaining. It's really engaging. It's fast paced. So yeah, I've really, really liked it. Like, part of the problem that I'm having being dealing with my illness at the moment, not my chronic illness, but like the flu in my rib cage, is that I'm on really, really high dose of these very intense painkillers. And so I'm very sleepy. I am on top of other side effects that I'm experiencing. They knock me out. And this has been the perfect book to kind of dip in and out of, because it is so engaging and it is so in its own world that I do feel like I can kind of jump in and out when I have the energy and the focus to read. So this has been great. But I'm almost done. So I have 2 books that I'm going to start when I finish this one. These are also both library books. Check out your local library. So the first one's nonfiction. I don't know why. I read a lot of nonfiction, but I don't necessarily check it out from the library, which is strange. But this is The Creative Act. This is just to help with all my creative kind of hurdles that I'm overcoming at the moment. I'm trying to... Oh! Someone left a piece of fabric in there. Is that why I love library books as well? Because they've lived entire lives. This must have been like their bookmark or something. That's so cool. They've lived entire lives before you get them. It's only been taken out one other time. So it was the last reader. That's so cool. Anyway. I'm trying to overcome my creative hurdles. I want to start making sellable things again, bags and quilts, like I used to years ago during COVID and just after COVID, before our life kind of became baby focused. And he's not a baby anymore, so I have more time and space to do that. I just miss the routine of making that I was in for a really long time. It was a daily thing and I felt so good and so myself. So it's not just making content that I've managed to talk myself out of. It's making a lot of things. And the thing is, once I push myself to actually make something, I feel so good. There is nothing more me than being creative. There is nothing that makes me feel better. So we're going to read this to help kind of get out of our creative funk. And then for fiction, now this is a beast. So I'm a little bit nervous because it's thick. It is shorter than I thought, but it is still thick. But I want to read The Murders at Fleet House by Lucinda Riley. The sun just came out, so if there's a glare on the covers, I apologize. The Murders at Fleet House. You may know Lucinda Riley. She wrote a series called the Seven Sisters series, which I haven't read, but I do have the first one out from the library sitting in my bedroom. So at some point I want to read that, but there is like 8 books and they're all huge. So it's a bit of a commitment. I'm not quite ready for that yet. This is about, I do remember what this is about, right? Yeah, so this is a murder mystery, which is right up my street at the moment as well. This is about a bully who is found dead one day at this elite boarding school. And it's a whodunit, and it's also a little bit political because obviously the boarding school itself is afraid of its reputation, what might happen to its reputation, and secrets about the boarding school start to come out. Yeah, it sounds like everything is just quite, oh no, somebody folded a page. Sinister, but riveting. So this is the next fiction. I'm hoping I will finish this tonight, and be able to start this one. But we'll see. And like I said, this is a big one, but I actually looked at the page count, and it's only like 450 pages. That's still a lot. It's still a lot. But it's, I thought it was going to be like, based on just the look and feel, I thought it was going to be about 500 or 600, and it's not. So that's good. And the font is fairly big. So that is what we'll be reading this week, and probably for longer. I'm trying to track less of my reading. as someone who has made book content for years, I've been through the gamut with book websites, book apps, but I've done Goodreads, I've done Fable, I've done what's the one that I was recently? Storygraph was the last one. I've done book journals, I've done you name it. And actually I have a book journal for this year. Although I've mainly used it just to list down what I've read. I don't really write reviews that much because I like to sit on my reads for a really long time to get a real feel for how I feel about them. I think also because I studied English lit, you had to write essays and stuff on books, which is different. You're given like a subject guidance, right on like the representation of motherhood in Frankenstein, one of my favorite essays I ever wrote, and stuff like that. Whereas when it comes to like personal thoughts and preferences about a book, those develop over time. The more you sit on it, the more you reread it, the more you develop as a person. Those things develop. So yeah, I think that I'm just trying to track less. You know what I really want? I really want to be less online. That's a big goal of mine. Less online in like the scrolling sense. I love making stuff. I want to be more online in terms of content and making stuff. But I want to be less online in terms of mindless scrolling. I want to be less online with my reading in that when I was a kid in the late 90s, early 2000s, I had no idea. I just loved a bookshop and I loved a library. And I would walk in and I would browse the shelves. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't have any reviews. I maybe had one or two books that like I had heard through a friend or something that I wanted to read, or through school, or maybe in one of the like kids magazines that I used to read. But like generally, I just went in and I browsed and I let myself wander and I let my imagination go. And that's what I want again. There is no reason we can't have that as adults. But in order to do that, I need to limit the information that is being thrown at me 24 hours a day. And that is, largely social media. I don't use any websites or apps anymore. I'm using my notebook less and less, like my book journal less and less. I still journal, but like just about my own personal stuff. I want to do more writing in terms of journaling and maybe like creative writing. I'd like to write some stories. But I don't need data attached to my reading. I really don't. So, and it makes it less fun for me. This is all personal, but for me, it makes it less fun. I don't need to know how many books I've read. I just need to read. Some months I'm going to read 5 books, 7 books, 10 books. That's great. But there's also going to be months where I read 1. There's rarely months where I don't read any, although it happens because I have a child and a life. But I need there to be space for me to just read at my own pace, depending on what's going on in my life, and not put pressure on my reading life. And also to let my imagination and my brain just go. I want to just show up at the bookshop or at the library with my son and have a very similar experience to him, because he's certainly not on social media at 3. So he goes in and he just looks through the shelves and he interacts with the books and looks at the pictures, not, reading, but he looks at the pictures and maybe gets mom to read a little bit. And then he decides, okay, I want this one, we're going home. I want to do the same thing. There's no reason I can't have that. So that's what I'm trying to do, as well as spend less money. So yeah, I am not part of any tracking or anything. I'm just letting my brain, my inner child, if you will. I don't personally love that term, but I think it does really nicely sum up what I'm talking about. Like I'm just kind of letting it all free, shall we say. So yeah. Also, I think at some point this week you may notice that I've got quite the mess behind me. I was covering that. You could have just not seen that. I feel like I cleaned this studio and within 24 hours it's a mess again, but we did have people staying. for a very excited reason, and I will show you that. We had my in-laws staying over this past weekend. And so we've just been like storing extra stuff in here while they were here. So yeah, but I do, what time is it? Yeah, it's I haven't changed the time on my pump. That's partially why I'm so tired. Oh, we went back, we had British daylight savings or whatever. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, the time we went forward an hour is basically what I'm saying. Yesterday. And I remember saying to my husband, between the two of us, someone has to remind me to change the time on my pump because my insulin pump doesn't change itself. And neither of us remembered. So I have now remembered. Anyway, it's 3:45. I do have to very quickly make dinner, although low effort dinner tonight. We've got a pizza in the fridge. I think I'm just going to shove that in because mommy's not feeling great. And then I have to go pick up my son. And then we're just my big goal for tonight is just to finish this. So hopefully Peter will let me do a bit of reading while he plays or something. But yeah, welcome to the vlog. Very long intro. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that we're having this week together. It is the next day now. It is Tuesday. I'm not feeling great today. You might be able to tell. I have just showered, so my hair is super fluffy. But like physically and mentally, I'm not feeling fab today. I ended up hurting my rib again last night. I went to pick up Peter from nursery, and like, don't get me wrong, right? I love living in a country where public transport is prioritized. It's a big thing, kind of in Europe, but especially in the UK, like, we have good public transport. As someone who comes from Canada, where the public transport is atrocious, specifically on the West Coast, like, it's just so bad. And if you don't drive, you're basically like screwed. But yeah, the buses in our area have not been super consistent lately. Charlotte, what are you doing? So I went to pick up Peter, and we didn't have the pram because he wanted to walk like a big boy yesterday morning. And we ended up having to walk home, which is fine. But about 2/3 of the way home, Peter decided he'd had enough. And he didn't want to walk anymore. And so I had to carry him the rest of the way. And my boy is not a big boy, but he is tall and pure muscle. So I just carried him the rest of the way home, and I could feel my rib pinching as I was doing it. But he was just not having it. He didn't throw a fit. He just decided, I don't want to walk anymore. I'm too tired for this. I've had a full day playing at nursery and I don't want to do it anymore. So yeah, that hurts. And then on top of that, I'm just feeling like my cold symptoms feel like they're coming back. My cold and flu symptoms. And I'm so tired of being, excuse the dog. I'm so tired of being sick. Charlotte, over here. Over here. You're blocking the, okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just tired of being sick. So can you come on, you're not a lap dog. Sit, good girl. So yeah, I'm not feeling great. So I am going to do a puzzle. I recently got one of these puzzle easels. So it's got like a foamy kind of background. It comes with a cover so that I can put the cover over what I do with my puzzle and put it under the chair to store it. And I'm very excited about this. Okay, so I've done a good portion of the border. This is going to take me a while, but I've been at this for about 45 minutes now, and I am getting very sleepy. So I'm going to try and get a nap in before I have to pick up my wee one and make dinner and do all the adult responsibilities that we must do. But this was so nice to do and just a lovely little kind of creative hobby situation. But now I think I'm gonna take a sleep because I'm really tired. And we'll go from there.